2021. Go check it out. So we'll go ahead and move right along to our next presenter today, Elise Odom. How are you this morning? She owns an amazing company called Boudoir by Elise, and she's going to share her story with us. So Elise, go ahead and come off mute.
Hey,
and
good morning,
we'll let you get started.
Woo! Well, my name is Elise. I was born in Alaska, lived there till I was about 8, and then moved to California, to the coast of the Redwoods. It's called Crescent City. It's the home of the Redwoods. So that was really fun growing up in a location that's technically classified as a rainforest. So coming here, it was definitely a change. It's so dry here compared to there. Like, it's like you can feel the water in your lungs back in Crescent City. So I definitely feel like a fish that fell in love with a bird and is trying to live up in a nest for some reason. So anyway, I moved here in New Year's 2012. So it's just my anniversary of moving here. So been here for close to 10 years now. It's been quite a journey. So when I first got started making money, I was a child doing chores. So I'm gonna start there. My parents didn't give me like an allowance, like a lot of parents did. They didn't make you do something and then give you an allowance. They said that you work for each item that you're doing. So, sweeping the kitchen was worth 25 cents. You see what I'm getting at? So if I wanted to make money, I had to do those. So if I found it that it actually helped me, motivate me anyway to do chores more often. It's not something I complained about. It was something like, oh, if I want that next deck of Pokemon cards, I've got to go sweep the kitchen, make some money. So that's how I started making money. And pretty soon, my uncle hired me on as like a handyman kind of thing, help him around the house because he was not able. And pretty soon I was applying for jobs when I was 13 because I was like, I need to make some real money now. I'm going to go work at a fast food joint. So I got to the point eventually where I was a manager at a Pizza Hut for about 5 years. And then I turned 20 and all my friends, they said, well, let's go somewhere. Let's move to Colorado. So we all moved here together. And eventually I met my boyfriend and we moved down to Colorado Springs together and we've been here ever since. So I've really enjoyed living here and being here in this community. So I think, I went from working at restaurants. I've actually been a manager at 2 different restaurants now. And then, I got hired on by this company called the Housewives in the City. And that was more social media presence and marketing stuff. So I had to suddenly dive into learning about marketing because I had planned on doing something more creative. I've absolutely loved just creating art. Like I paint and I obviously I'm a photographer, stuff like that. So I want to do something fun with food, but I found that I was just tired of working in these, it's more like a conveyor belt thing. It's not really artistic. And so I felt myself burning out working in restaurants. And I really thought that the marketing thing would work out because I was so passionate about getting everybody's business out there. But I found that the only part that I really, really enjoyed was when I got to go take pictures of their products and services and stuff to put in the marketing. And I really thought about it. And so when I first started taking pictures, I think I was 13 when I got my hands on my mom's old digital camera. So I started taking pictures and pretty soon it got to a point where I was progressing and making things that looked really, really nice to the point where, I was proud to frame it. And eventually when I was, I think I was like 15 or something, I was like the ugly duckling of my friends. I was not the pretty one. And so I would take pictures of myself, like 3 a.m. in my bathroom doing weird makeup looks and like just taking pictures of myself. And it wasn't sexual or anything. It was just creative. And as I got older, and you mature, and then I started taking more that were not necessarily sexy, but they were a little bit more risque. I still kept it on the artistic side because frankly, that was my goal is I like to make art. And eventually my friends saw that I was, doing these artistic pictures and stuff and they wanted some done. And so pretty soon I was taking pictures of all my friends And, I was just having such a good time. So throughout everything that I've done, like even when I was working at restaurants, I take pictures for the restaurants. Working in marketing, I take pictures of businesses and stuff. And over time, I found that that was really the part that I was going back to every time, was taking pictures. I'd always wanted to go full time with Boudoir, but I had dabbled in all sorts of different types of photography. I just thought just do photography in general. But I found that it's actually something that sorry, I just saw the 1 minute thing, distracted me for a second. Squirrel. So doing Boudoir, finding my niche, I found that I love working with women. It helps empower them. And it makes them feel really good about themselves. I love the reactions on these women's faces when they see their pictures. It's something that makes me feel happy. It fills my bubble, and I just enjoy it. Besides, I just hate working with kids. They have to take frequent breaks. They're always complaining. Oh my gosh. So at any rate, I think my time's up. I'm not sure. I can't see Danielle. Her screen disappeared from me. So like the chat thing is all I'm seeing, right? So I think my time is up. I'm not sure.
You're good. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Elise. There's so many things that you said that I personally can resonate with. But I wanted, so, like you mentioned, boudoir for a lot of women, it's kind of a touchy subject. Like as a woman, you want to feel sexy and empowered, but at the same time, we also feel very uncomfortable. So talk to us about what the process is working with you like. How do you get women comfortable and to be able to get them to come out of their shell to pose for these photos, and to just kind of coach them through that?
So we start off with wine. Wine helps. But really though, it's something that I find is a secret desire of every single woman. Every single woman wants to feel beautiful and desired. And, I find that women, we're nurturers, we care for other people, and we put so much into caring for other people that we forget to do something for ourselves. And so that's how I let people know, like, this is something for you. Finally you can have something for yourself. It seems like a unnecessary treat, but the fact is, if you're not doing self-care, then you're getting left behind. You're pushing everybody up the hill, and then you're still back in the hole there. So some of the things that I help women, I extensively talk to them. So there's the consultation. I talk to them for up to an hour just about their dream experience with boudoir that they would like to do. And I try to, show my personality as much as possible in those calls, so it doesn't feel corporate, like they're talking to some sales rep on the phone. I let them know, like, I'm just another lady. You know what I mean? I just want you to help you feel good about yourself and about your body. Everybody's got stretch marks. Everybody, they get this view, they look down at themselves, and it's a completely different view than when somebody is looking at you. So women, we tend to look at ourselves like this, and we're like, oh, that's honestly, that's how a reaction that I get from a lot of women. They're like, I don't really see myself like that. I really wish that I could. So I start off with the consultation, reassuring them that every single woman that I've photographed, they all look like crazy hot bombshell models. But the fact is, they're all everyday women that haven't showered in a week. They're not wearing a bra, and they haven't put makeup on or shaved their armpits for a while. Every single one of my clients are just average everyday women that I turn into bombshells. You know what I mean? I help them find their bomb and go off. So that's something that I like to promote. But we start with the consultation. Then once they're officially a client and they're signed on with me, we do a styling consultation after that, before their session. So we do a Zoom thing. We go over their wardrobe. We go over stuff they've saved on Pinterest. They've thoroughly described to me exactly how they expect to feel and what they expect to get out of this, specifically what they're nervous about, and what they're excited about. I go over what they're most self-conscious about. Like, I ask them directly, like, what body part do you feel most self-conscious about? Things like that. So I try to dive into the deeper questions to really, really help them find that, that core And you know, over time, then eventually we actually meet in person at my studio. And this is something that I find is mandatory when bringing somebody into my studio. I don't just say, all right, get naked. It's more of a,
Right.
yeah, it's more of a, you know, you come in, we chit chat for a little while. I pour you some wine, we have some snacks, you know, a little bit more chit chat. We go over your wardrobe again, you know, decide on what we're going to shoot first. And then I'll do a quick tour of my studio so that they get familiar with the space. They know where the bathroom is. And I tell them where I've
Right.
hidden the tampons just in case. Little things like that to make them feel a little bit more at home. And then once, you know, they feel a little more confident stuff, then I let them, you know, get dressed and stuff. And usually we start off with something a little bit more modest, like a sexy dress, and then we work our way down. But I find that women, once they get that initial look out of the way, the more modest look, they're so much more comfortable at that point that, like, by the end of each of my sessions, usually everybody's naked. Like, I don't even know like how to put it other than that. Like they just kind of work their way down the line until they're so comfortable that they're like, I have to get dressed now. So I've had a lot of fun with these
Right.
girls, and I think that it's definitely something that everybody's nervous about at first, but eventually, you know, they realize that I'm just a friend. You know what I mean? They can just hang out with me. It's not, you know, they're not like having to get naked or having to you know, do something they're uncomfortable with. They're choosing to because they eventually feel so comfortable, you know.
Right.
Yeah, I hope.
Steve, go ahead. I think you had a question next.
Who's
Yeah. As a creative, do you ever find yourself in a creative rut? And if so, where do you draw inspiration from?
I will take a look at other boudoir photographers. Sometimes I just look at stuff that's not even boudoir photography, like just artistic stuff in general. I love doing creative work. I do all sorts of different composites. I'm not sure if everybody knows what that is. It's where you take multiple pictures and splice them together to do stuff. But I do all sorts of different artistic things, and I try to do. I have a routine with the poses. So each outfit that they change into, I do a series of poses, but in between the posing set that I have to keep everything going smoothly, I kind of get a feel for how they move. And sometimes they might do something by accident, you know, like they're just like, oh, and then suddenly I'm like, ooh, that looks good. Just hold that for a second, you know. So I try to do things that are more specific to people in between. And then I love looking at Pinterest. You know, Pinterest is definitely gold for somebody like me that's looking for inspiration. And then, you know, a lot of times I tell my clients, like, you should go on Pinterest and start a board and save every single picture, that not just, you know, sexy stuff, but like any kind of picture that you feel drawn to, that you would like to try to accomplish during your session. And that way, you know, we can get that going for them. So even though I have like a routine, I find that, you know, in between the sets, there's a lot of creativity that we get done. And I've done some original stuff with people that I just don't think I would even want to recreate with somebody else, because it's just so unique with them, you know. Who's next?
I'm next. Elise, this is so cool. I had no idea this was even a thing out there. So really cool. So I kind of have two questions. One, I'm curious, like, how long does a session generally take? And then what's the market like? Are you overwhelmed with women wanting to come to you, or is it a challenge to find these folks, or like me, to get the word out so people know that this is a thing, to like plant that seed and get people thinking, gosh, I kind of want some sexy pictures.
Okay, so sorry, what was the first part of that again?
How long is a session generally?
Okay, so the sessions, if it's not like a mini session, which is a pre-scheduled weekend that I will just pump out 30-minute sessions. So that's something that I do more holiday specific. So that's not tailored to each person. That's just you come in, you get it done, you get out, you know. But if they want the full experience, which is my bestseller, the sessions, I photograph anywhere from 2 to 3 hours. And the hair and makeup takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours to complete the look. and then there's my salon, my beauty team is the Mint Beauty Lab. I love supporting them. And they're just 2 blocks down from me. And I don't know if anybody knows this, but my studio is located in Old Colorado City. That's the neighborhood I live in. So my studio and my beauty team salon, they're just 2 blocks apart from each other. So it's walking distance. So I find that even though a lot of people, they think that it's going to be a struggle, because they're not in the same building. Like a lot of boudoir photographers, they have their makeup and hair person that comes to their studio. But I find that it's actually more of an experience because they've got this whole salon, you know, they've got the full treatment for them there. And then it's a nice little quick walk, and they get a look at shops and stuff. And that kind of helps the other businesses, because then they kind of do like a little window shopping on their way. And they're like, ooh, I like that. I have to come back here after the session. And so I find that even kind of draws into the experiences is being in this cute touristy neighborhood. So in total though, it does take about 5 hours. I've even had one that went about 6 hours, because, you know, there's the getting ready time, and then they get to the studio. So there's a little bit of travel time. And then we, you know, chit chat and go over wardrobe for, I don't know, half an hour or something. And then we photograph. And then after we're done photographing, I will take like, I don't know, like 5-10 minutes, and I go over their pictures with them just to make sure that we got every shot that they were wanting to get before they're officially gone and out of hair and makeup. So a lot of photographers, they don't like to show the raw images to their clients, because one, this kind of gives them an excuse to pick apart the images. They say, ooh, that's really dark and stuff. And then, so I have to remind them, your images will look drastically different once they are completely finished. You know, I do several editing processes. There's the initial edit, and then there's the skin retouching edit, and then finally I do the nip tuck edits, where I take what's called liquidation, and I can actually tuck in those little spots that bug women. Like, I do any edits that personally I would like to see done on me if I was paying somebody good money to do. You know, I don't want somebody to just run it through a filter like on Instagram. I don't do quick Instagram shots. I do stuff that's going to be works of art that will be hanging on your wall. You know, that's my focus, is to try to make art. So these aren't quick, you know, snapshots. And oh, my brain. So yeah, it's a very, very lengthy process, and it takes anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks before the images are actually ready for you to review and then order products from. And then it can take anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks before the products have arrived. And then because I'm so high end, I make sure everything is luxurious. It's a lengthy experience for everyone. Then, you know, with my pricing, then they have a payment plan usually. So some women, they stretch out their payments as long as they can. And so like this one lady, she's going to be paying me over the next year and a half. And so even though, you know, it's only 6 to 8 weeks before the products arrive, you don't get your products until everything's paid off. And so, you know, it's going to be a year and a half before she gets her items. And then I book several months in advance. So this whole process, like once hired, it's going to be like 2 years. You know what I mean? That's usually around what it ends up being. So even though it's like a 6-hour day, you know, it's like a 2-year process. So when somebody is hiring me on as their boudoir photographer, like they're hiring me for the next couple of years, basically. It's a very lengthy process.
Yep. I think we have one more question before our super special secret question. And so Sean, do you want to ask yours real quick?
Yes, sure. It sounds like you're kind of running a makeshift team. How big do you want this thing to go? You know, over the next, I'd say 3 to 5 years.
Well, I would love to grow to the point where I'm booked out. You know, it'd be really nice to be completely booked out, like a year in advance, that kind of thing. And other than that, like I've gotten my goal. Like I've been shooting consistently for a while. And you know, I just hope I keep on where I'm at, honestly. Like I couldn't want for anything more the way it's going. I have a lot of women that that love doing this. And I see somebody asked if I accommodate couples. Yes, I accommodate couples. I've even accommodated for men. So there's male boudoir out there, ladies.
There you go, Robert.
Googleable.
Right, right. I know one person asked on Facebook real quick if you will do shoots outside of your studio.
I do. There is a travel fee, but it's just to cover gas. That's it. I don't charge like an exorbitant amount to travel. But there is a travel fee, but I will go to a location, such as your house or something, to make you feel more comfortable. The only thing is that I have to discuss with my makeup and hair team to get somebody to travel with me. And so sometimes negotiating dates can be an issue because I have to find something where they can get away from the salon to do that. And the only other thing though is if somebody wants a location like outdoors, they have to find out if it's okay in that location. Like if there's permits required, my clients have to get the permits. This is not something I handle. If you want it in that location,
Right.
you have to negotiate that location.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Rich has a question for you, which I think is our super special secret question. Rich, you got voluntold, buddy.
Hey, so what can we as a 1 Million Cups community do to support you?
Number one is just, let your wives know. Let anybody you know that wants to get empowered, they if they're feeling a little self-conscious, send them to me and I'll perk them right up. And then number two, my studio lease will be up at the end of February. And so if anybody has a space, like say there's a business that they know is struggling with their rent, I would love to, take over their space on days that they're not going to be there and shoot there. And that, I can help tag their businesses in the photos that I post. And that way I can help supplement their rent a little bit for them if they're struggling with paying rent right now due to COVID. And I love switching up my space if I can sometimes, So if anybody knows of a space or has a business that might be struggling to pay their rent and you think that it would be a good location for me to photograph in, get me in touch. I would love to talk to them.